The other day we take this screenshot and create all these form validation states like one by one. First we select the colors, we make them variables, and then we make them via auto layout. Make sure to check out the video on YouTube. And then eventually by the end of the video I create something like a very simple component. And in the component property you see that the state is already functioning good. But in the second series I just want to add new things, because components is just more than states. As you may have seen before, or maybe not, if you want to add another component, we created 4 or 5 different variants of one single component, and we create a property called state. What if we add more properties like text property? What about Boolean and instance swap? So in this video I want to talk about these component properties one by one, create these things a little bit better. If you're new here, hi, my name is Murat Bayral. I am a UI instructor and a UI designer for over 20 years, and I have been doing this video in order to help my own students and help you along the way. So make sure to subscribe and stick around, because I will have much more tutorials like that. And maybe I will turn everything, this type of tutorials, into YouTube Live in the near future. So without further ado, let's jump in. So let's start with a text property, and I would like to talk you through some benefits of it. So let's add the first text property to my field. There are different ways to add it. I can directly select the field component and add a text property. Say something like text equals label. When I create that property, nothing will change, because I need to select the precise text and then say that this is going to be the text property. So when I select that, this is going to be the label, because the label text is stored on that component property. However, if I select this, I can be able to change that. But if I go to focus, it's still going to be active. However, if I select this one and say that it is text as well, this is going to be text as well. So it will take the same text, written text, which is applied to my own component property. On the other hand, if I select and say something like label 2, press enter, it's going to be label 2 both on focused and default versions. No matter if I want to select the component, go and edit to label 3. It's not going to update it right away. Why? Because I already touch on that text element and edit it right away. The only way to bring it back and reset that property is to right click and say reset instance. So it will come back and take it from the original state here. However, we don't want to do that. We just want to keep this thing as active and this thing as, let's go ahead and fix and give a better naming convention. It's going to be the default text. Default label. Okay. So let's select default. Now it's already updated. On the other hand, I want to give the same, or I want to give for each variant another text property. So this one is going to be another one. So this is going to be active. I will leave it as active for now. I will select this one and say label. Let's call it label. select success label with one S. Thank you. And this one, disabled label, and let's call it disabled input. So I have an instance here. As long as I select, let's say, the error, I have the error label here, and then it will I can make any change I want. But it's not finished there. So I want to add few more stuff. Something like, let's add this results. So results label. And then what else? I can add this one as another one, as error message. And this one, make sure that you select the child element, and this is going to be text if you want to apply a text property. Select, add, and success message. I think that's it about text. So as you see, I have the error message here, error label here, but if I now select this thing and go to default, I no longer have the rest. So this is all about text. And make sure that if you don't want to see the same label repeated all across all other instances, do not put the same text field for everything. So I did it precisely, active for active, error for error, and success for success. And I will also take care of the naming convention after I finish the video. Maybe I can ask AI to redo it for me. What else? The second thing that I want to change is that I forget yesterday, even though this is a success, I forget this icon, but this gives me, because I want to use a check icon, but this gives me an opportunity to add my icons as part of my components. So I will select all of them, take them here, paste them here. As far as I see, let me control is gray 100 to 900. So let's change all of them first before. This was gray 900. Gray 900. And this is gray 100. Done. And let's see the name, cross, exclamation, info, good. So I can now select all of them and create a multiple components, and then replace this one with this one. I would like to keep this as 24 by 24, but I want to also keep this one 20 by 20. So let's copy this one and paste to replace. But again, 20 by 20. And copy that one and paste to replace. Okay, I like this type of error. So you see that this is originally a circle, but when I paste to replace, it becomes something like this, and see why it does do that. So reset instance, yes. Probably if I make the change of 20 by 20, most probably I need to make it with scale tool. Press K and make it 20. It is still making that mistake. So how can I? This is very interesting. So if I make this, I understand what is going on. So that's why I like this format a lot, and probably I will turn into a YouTube live, because it also gives me to solve problems, like literally live. That's why I don't edit this part as well. So what I'm going to do for this one particularly is I will select the child elements and say scale, especially this one, scale and scale. It's going to be center, so let me double check on that. If I scale that, this is working, but I need to play with the X as well. This is scale, scale. Yes, now it's not going to make the same mistake again. I think this is already fixed. Yes, and copy, paste to replace. Icon cross. Okay, this is done. And I will do exactly the same for this child element. This is going to be scale, center, and this is going to be scale, scale. What I'm doing is basically I'm playing, since they are in a frame, I'm playing with their constraints. So X is done. What about this thing? So originally I would like to see which colors have been used. 500 to 50. Okay, 50, and this is going to be 500. Done. I don't know if I make this thing 20 by 20, is this going to create that problem or not? Yes, it will. Or let's double check on that. 24 by 24. So if I select this child element and say something like scale, does it allow me to scale that as well? Nope. So what about this thing? The exclamation mark. Scale. Scale. Yep, it solved that issue. So first and foremost, let's zoom in. Make it 20 by 20 by locking the ratio first. Looks okay. Cut it, Command X, or copy it, however you wish. And then select this child element. Instead of a blank frame, I want to paste to replace. Boom. This was probably before 16 by 16. Okay, totally okay. Press and do 16 and see if there is going to be any problem. No problem at all, thanks to constraints. So let's fix this one and make sure to, this is green 500, green 50. Okay. This is going to be scale, cool. This is scale, scale already. So let's take this. Green 500 to green 50. Or yes, it is. Cut. Come here and paste to replace. Done. Success. Now it looks like a success. I don't know how did I forget that. Anyhow, that's also done. But we did not actually do anything with property. What if I want to shift this icon with that, for instance. How can I do that? So make sure that you have stack all these icons in another section, something like Shift S, and I want to call them icon. So Figma already knows that this is an instance of that original one. So probably it will give me that option. So let's select that. So this one, let's create it to active, focused. I don't have option to change the icon because I need to add another property, which is going to be the instance swap. Okay, the instance swap. But I want to do it precisely for that icon. Let's close that for a second, and I would like to do with this one. And I can edit the create instance swap from this icon. Create this, preferred value is that, but maybe I would like to add this one. So whenever I have this, I have cross, but I can select this one also. This gives me all the options to make any changes with the component instances. But as you may have recall, if I now select the error state, for instance, I don't have that option anymore. Why? Because I then need to either select this one, copy and paste to replace, or select this one and click here. I already have the instance here. But I just want to change the instance to something more meaningful. Icon is cross. So whenever I have this, I have exclamation mark or cross. That's it. So by default, it's going to be the cross, yes. But if I select this one and say that this is exclamation mark and go back to, let's say, focused, it's going to be exclamation mark. Same goes to if I change the colors, it is going to, Figma will already honor my decision too. What else can we do? So let's say for the success one, okay, we want to make sure that sometimes I will have the message, but sometimes not. So I want to give a property for this, which is going to be the Boolean. Boolean is a mathematical term which answers true or false questions. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I will add a Boolean property and call something like has message. And by default, it's going to be true. I will leave it as true. And you will understand why. If I select this thing, but this time it is going to be here on the appearance, because it's all about appearance right now. You can hide it manually, or you can select has message true. And I will also, now let's check with, let's say, the error state has message. Okay, I can close it anytime I want. But as you may have remember, on success, I still did not have that option. So let's also give that option to it from appearance. Here has message. Good. But if I change the settings, has message settings to false, by default, it's going to bring you false. And then I need to manually put every time. So I think that's it. Let me know down below in the next video what you would like to see. And maybe we can cover something like we can create spacing tokens for each default, active, error, and success states. And maybe give more semantic names. So in the next video, I will cover these topics. See you on the next one. Cheers.